Break the Silence, Build the Future. I am Fartumo Kusow, founder of Sahra Bulle Foundation and the host. This season, we'll call it 8 Minutes to Silence. 8 minutes is how long it took one night for everything to change for my family. This season is about the silence in those 8 minutes and about everything we can do to make sure the next 8 minutes are met with action instead of silence. Here's how this season works. 20 episodes every Wednesday from now until December the 2nd. 10 of those episodes are the trial story, told roughly in order. The other 10 are conversations with people doing this work, researchers, advocates, survivors. The verdict lands in episode 16, which will air on November 4th, a few weeks before our I Am Sahra Bulle conference on November 26th. Today, before I take you into any of it, I want to tell you what I had expected from this process. The process of the criminal justice system, the court, the arrest, the trial, and everything in between. Because the gap between what I had expected and what it actually was is where this whole season lives. I expected, I think, like most people who have never sat through a criminal trial, something closer to what you see on television. A few dramatic days, clear answers, understanding. I did not expect what a trial actually is. 3.5 weeks of testimony. Evidence entered page by page. Videos reviewed frame by frame, and a level of care that honestly surprised me. What it actually was, as a mother sitting there watching, was slow, deliberate. At one point, 2 witnesses were testifying from the UK by video call, and the judge would not proceed until he was certain neither of them could hear or influence the other's testimony. He had one of them carry a laptop around the room she was sitting in so he could see for himself that she was alone. That took the better part of 2 days just to set up. I didn't know how involved it all was until I sat through it. The judge's instructions to the jury alone took a day and a half to deliver, page after page, because he wanted to make sure that 12 ordinary people who had never done anything like this before understood exactly what they were being asked to decide and how to weigh what they'd seen, heard over 3.5 weeks. I remember thinking, however long this takes, this is what thorough looks like. I was grateful for it, even when it was hard to sit through it. There is a detail from partway through the trial that I still think about because of what happened to my daughter. The forensic lab couldn't recover enough of her DNA to build a profile. So they asked for mine. They took my blood as her mother and used it to establish that was in fact my Sahra. There is nothing, and I say nothing, that prepares you for being asked to give piece of yourself so your child can be identified in a court. I was the first witness called. I didn't expect that either, that I would be the one to open it. What it became the entire trial for me was this: the day the man responsible turned himself in, because he did. He came back across the border on his own. I remember feeling something I didn't expect to feel, which was gratitude, not for him, but for the fact that it meant this process could begin, instead of stretching across years of extradition proceedings between two countries. I've held on to that gratitude because I know how much worse the waiting could have been. Over dozens and dozens worked on finding my daughter that week. They brought her home to us. Not the way any of us wanted, God knows, but they brought her home. And somewhere in sitting through all of it, the patience of that judge, the painstaking care of those officers, my own testimony, this foundation started to take shape. Not instead of my grief, but alongside it. Why this season? And why now? Why am I sharing this story with you right now? So here's what I want you to take from today. This season is not going to look away from anything. Over the next 19 episodes, we're going to walk through the trial itself. And in between, we're going to sit with people, building the system that could change this story for someone else. Next week, in episode 2, I am going to introduce you properly to Sahra, who she was, and the day she disappeared. That episode is hers. This one was mine to open the door. If anything in today's episode brought something up for you, if you are in immediate danger, call 911. If you are in Ontario, the Assaulted Women's Helpline is free, confidential, and open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There is more than 200 languages. Please reach out. 1-866-863-0511. In French language, you can reach 1-877-336-2433. To find a shelter anywhere in Canada, search Shelter Safe. That is sheltersafe.com. And you can always find us at Sahra Bulle Foundation.ca. All of these will be in the show notes. First, thank you for being here and listening for the first episode of 8 Minutes to Silence. Find more information from today's episode in the show notes or at sahrabulle.foundation.ca/podcast. Subscribe and follow wherever you get your podcast. Leave a review, leave a voice note, and follow the show. Thank you.